on my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I have today. Time's gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Hello, this is 1100 WSG. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and this is One Street Over. What's happening one street over from where you're living? I'll tell you, in my world, I'm in my world right now, one street over from where I am living. Let me get this microphone turned up. There we go. Hi, guys. 1100 WSG. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and this is One Street Over. What's going on one street over from where you living? I'll just tell you right now, we're counting down to Thanksgiving, and it's getting close, and I'm not ready.
Less than,
okay.
what, 10 days or so?
Oh, yeah. I got to go buy like 6 turkeys.
Oh, gosh.
We're doing something at church. And then, so I got to do some turkeys for that. And I'm glad to do it. It's fine. But I've got to get them in the fridge to thaw. But we're also having, ever since my mom passed, we always had to do it on Thanksgiving Day. She wanted Thanksgiving Day. And I was like, I'm a boy mom. I don't get the holiday. And that's cool because, and I've talked a lot about this. If you're a boy mom, just let it go, man. Have another day and you take the pressure off everybody. So, once Mama passed away, we started doing Thanksgiving on Black Friday, and I've invited my friends, family, anybody. You can come if you want to on Black Friday to have dinner at our house, and I'm doing a couple of turkeys for that, and so I've got that. Well, Mark's going to smoke a couple. I'm going to roast a couple, and it's just like so I'm going to get like 6. But anyway, so we've just got to get right to it because I've got so many things I want to ask you. Okay, there's 2 big questions I have for you, and I'm not sure if Jessica or Sheriff Van Dyke's coming down. I went ahead and put Sheriff Van Dyke down. We had talked about Sheriff coming in, and I did hear from Jess this weekend, and usually she messaged me and says, hey, what are we talking about? And since she didn't, I'm thinking, maybe Sheriff's coming in. And then they may have forgotten, and Kaleb may hang with me because he's going to leave here and go to Springfield to talk to my husband's class. So it's Kaleb Stratton Day in the Vivio household. How about that?
Always something going on.
Okay. So what is your title right now until the end of the year? Not district sergeant. You're like marshal.
No, that was, so
Is that still in effect?
It is.
Deputized marshal, United States Marshal?
Until December 31st, yep.
What in the world?
That was the whole Memphis thing. So anybody that went to Memphis to help down there, everybody was deputized as a U.S. Marshal. So it's pretty cool,
Did you get a new badge?
You do, yeah. We get a little special deputy U.S. Marshal badge.
Did you get to keep it?
We do get to keep one, yeah. I don't have it yet, but
that's cool.
So yeah, we get to keep that, and you sign this little oath and have to take an oath and everything. So it's
That's
pretty
so
cool.
cool.
Pretty
That's
cool.
so cool. What
I've
is
got
like-
a thing from the the White House, the memorandum that has our Tennessee wildlife on there, just saying that we'll be down there and stuff, signed by the president. So
That's so stinking
you know,
cool.
hopefully we never have to do it again, but at least
Well,
once in your
yeah.
lifetime you get to do something like that and help out. So it's
How
pretty
long
neat.
were you down there?
9 days total.
Just 9 days,
Yeah.
but still. That had to
Well,
be
we
a
just
little
do
bit-
we do a lot of we're not there now, just with deer season coming on, and there's
Yeah.
not that many of us anyway, so
Sure.
it's just hard for us to take guys away from their counties right in the middle of the busiest part of the year, one of the
Okay.
busiest parts of the year, to go down there. So they've got plenty of help down there, but we were going on those rotations every week. So
Wow. I've got so many questions about what was going on, what we're doing, and we're doing that in a different city. I'm just so curious about it. And I've seen the news coverage and all that, but it's just like, everybody. I mean, Memphis has been a hot mess for a long time. And I have Chrissy McClellan's a ministry teacher that I follow, and she was talking about she's traveled the world. I mean, she's been in so many different countries because she's done mission work her entire career. And she says, I have been in this country, I've been in that country, and just goes on and on. She goes, and I've only been robbed twice, and both times in Memphis.
Yeah.
They broke into her car twice in Memphis. And she was like, what in the world's going on in Memphis? And I just thought, really? And then I had a friend's young son that was killed in Memphis. He was killed in a hit and run. They just left him in the ditch. It was horrifying. And
I mean, even while we were down there, there's still stuff like that
it's
going on
awful,
constantly. But it's that what they're doing just to, I mean, because you can watch the news, and I don't even think it's been on the news lately. I don't know. But everybody, well, first of all, it goes to show too with us. Like everybody was asking, why are y'all down there? And it's just another thing to show that when stuff gets real, they call on us. The U.S. Marshals actually specifically requested Tennessee Wildlife to come down to. They specifically requested Tennessee Wildlife to come down there because they've worked with us before. They see how we work. They see what we do, and they like what we do. So when you think of the game warden, you normally think of woods and water, which is 100% right. That's our main job. But at the end of the day, we're still law enforcement officers, and we're still asked to do a lot of stuff. And but while we were down there, though, so you're on what they call war teams, and each team that was down there had probably 10 or 12 guys on it, and there was police officers so we would have like TWRA, HSI, which is Homeland Security, DSS, which is Diplomatic Security Services. They were there. So they're the federal agents that run all the diplomatic security across the world.
Interesting.
IRS was there. The IRS has police agents. Wow. They were there. Of course, the ATF, Border Patrol was even there. Not doing immigration stuff, just helping us, So every police you could think of was there, type of police. It was crazy. Like I said, some I'd never even heard of. But you got this room of people, and that's where I would be at night, and you would have they compile this list of the most violent people that had warrants out for them. And then they would find intel on those people where they were that day, and they would send it out to the teams, and then we would go look for them and try to find them.
Did y'all have pretty good success in picking people up?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that had to have been pretty freaky, though, going in, because, I mean, you hear about bad things happen when warrants are served.
Yeah.
And that, for your family, had to have been a little scary.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, I mean, knock on wood, as far as I know, still to this day, no major injuries or anything. And
praise the Lord for that. Yeah.
On both sides,
Yeah.
So I know the Tennessee Highway Patrol, they were there way before anybody got there, and they're going to stay way after anybody leaves, and they've been wearing it out. They've been wearing it out. THP's been killing it down there. So. Well,
and I'm curious because I think Sheriff's Office has got people going because.
Well, they had some people from the National Guard. So the sheriff himself isn't sending anybody.
Okay.
But there's a few people from the sheriff's office that are down there because they're still active in the Army National Guard.
Okay,
yes.
because Mark mentioned their SRO might be going, so he must be Guard.
They're in the National Guard, right?
Oh, okay. Because that's why I was so curious. I was like, okay. Do they reach out to the agencies and say, "Hey, we need some of your people"? And then,
no, it was only federal and state police that went down there out of anything else.
Nothing local. Oh, okay. Because that's why I was so curious. when he said that he mentioned that he thought the SRO
Yeah, I
was
do know
gone,
the sheriff's office has at least 3 or 4 down there right now.
that are
with the
because
National
of
Guard,
National
though.
Guard.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that clarifies it. So if sheriff doesn't make it in, you answered my big question.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was curious about. Because here's the thing: when they call y'all up, can y'all refuse or you just go?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious. If can you say, "Hey, we're too busy here. We can't."
Well, I mean,
do
that's
it."
that's essentially what we've done after we went down there. Is we was like,
Okay.
hey, we appreciate it, and maybe after the first of the year, once stuff calms back down, if we're still
We
doing
can-
it, we can come back. But
Yeah.
we just, you got these agencies that have thousands of officers across the country, and
Right.
we've only got 180. So
yeah.
it's
You're gonna be spread thin.
right, and we were sending at one point over 20, almost 30 guys down there. So
Wow.
you got almost a quarter, or a fifth of our people down there, and it's just
Yeah.
we couldn't sustain that very long.
Well, and they're going into different. I mean, they're doing cities that are deemed, that we're law enforcement's not doing their job. They're seeing cities where law enforcement's not enforcing the law, not serving warrants, not doing those things. That's what they're going after. It
And-
seems to be, right?
Yes, that's what it seems to be, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but I can speak for Memphis that I was talking to one of the majors that was working with me in the command center some, and I was like, how many officers are y'all down? And he said, we're down about 800 total officers, and so they've got enough to handle their calls and do their normal stuff,
Oh,
but
okay, so
but then they just don't have enough people to go out there and serve warrants and
Gotcha.
and to investigate these crimes that are happening.
so it's not so much that the law enforcement's dropping the ball; they're just not enough people to pick it up and take it.
That, and I
Okay.
think it has a lot to do with their leadership, probably.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Okay. Interesting. I mean, I've just been fascinated by this and knowing that you were down there.
Yeah.
And then when your name came up today because, like I said, you're hanging with the Vivios
Yeah.
all day, and he told me about you being a deputized
yeah, that's what
U.S. Marshal.
he's been announcing me as U.S. Marshal every time. So.
I think that's cool because I mean that's the kind of stuff he and I both have always been. One of my biggest regrets is that I did not serve in the military or something like that because I had a lot of opportunities to, and his education is all of those things, and so we have such great respect for those who do, and really would love to get in there and do something like that, and he and I both, I think we would have. I'm kind of surprised we didn't get in the Guard or something, both of us. But I think life just got busy and we got distracted and just didn't do it, But we both have that mindset and really respect those that do, and glad that one of our kids stepped up and served.
Right.
And so anyway, but I just had to get that out there because we appreciate you.
No, it was
And
fun. Yeah.
Thankful you got back safe and sound and all those things. And for those that are headed there or going to be or wherever you're going to be, bringing law enforcement back to some of these communities that are getting somewhat lawless and not somewhat are. I mean, you think about some of the things you hear from Chicago and all these things, and people always, they're like, "You're going to Mexico?" And it's like, I feel safer in Mexico than I do in a lot of U.S. cities, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real. I had an encounter with the Tijuana police when a big dump truck ran over the back of the car we were driving. Couldn't have been nicer. Now it took forever, but you could not have asked for a nicer bunch of folks. I mean, they were just, it was a unique experience because the dump truck driver tried to bribe us.
Oh, wow.
Or not the driver, but the guy who owned it is like, "Hey, we'll buy your truck right now."
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just, I'm just thankful that they're getting some things done, but thankful that you're back safe and sound. Now, the other big question, then we'll get on to whatever you want to talk about. But I got my husband, I get a phone call the other day. "You will not believe the buck that is standing in our yard. It is massive. I don't know how many points it's got. I'm gonna try to harvest it." I'm like, I said, you can't unless you use your, and I was trying and I couldn't get it all out and we got cut off. And I was like, "Please do not shoot," because I was pretty sure we were not in rifle season yet. And I figured that was the only thing he had handy because he does have a bow, but he's not skilled with it yet. And I knew that's not going to be his go-to weapon, and he doesn't have a muzzle loader. And if he had shot that with a rifle, what would have happened?
Well, so
Very expensive.
yeah, so in Tennessee now, so when you shoot something out of season, and technically, even though it is deer season, It's a different type of method, so it would be considered hunting out of season because it wasn't rifle season.
Right.
I will tell you what the fine could be. Now everything's different, but depending on the size of the deer. So he said it was at least a 10 or a 12. So we'll say if it was a 12 pointer, that would be about a $10,000 fine. So it's $1,000 for the deer, and then then $750 per point. Anything over 11. So a 12-point buck would be 9,000 plus the 1,000 would be 10,000. I've gotten 15,000 for a deer before here in Robertson County. That was a very large buck, obviously, but it does happen. So, and then you're looking at losing your license for up to a year, your hunting license or hunting privileges, not necessarily a license. So, you could lose your right to hunt for a year. Because landowners don't have to have a license, so even though he didn't have to have a license, he could still have his right to hunt revoked for a year, and then loss of the weapon and anything used in the commission of the crime. So, in Tennessee, the law actually states that the officer shall take everything used in the commission of the crime. Now, we don't do that, obviously, because that would be meaning taking a lot of stuff. So, anything you used in the commission of the crime, cameras, camouflage, firearms, knives, all that kind of stuff, we're not going to normally do that unless it's a violent offender or somebody that's done it a lot. So
what
but,
in the world? I was floored because I knew I had to get in touch with him because I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not rifle season.
Yeah, you called me that evening.
And I got a hold of him, and I am so thankful. He was about ready to kick our dog because we've got a dog that looks like
he said he was about ready to shoot the dog instead of the deer.
Instead of the deer because the dog ran the deer off basically. And I said, you better go hug that dog.
Yeah.
Because if you had shot that deer, oh dear, you would have been in trouble. And then people would be like, well, you just don't tell nobody. Here's the thing. Okay, number one, we don't lie. And number two, when you're living in an area with where there's obvious other deer hunters, we've got a neighbor that's moved in next to us. They're deer hunters because they got all the things. They got trail cameras and they got
people
cameras.
know.
Yeah, they're watching that buck. And if that buck suddenly goes missing, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, people
They're going to investigate.
Yeah.
Who shot that buck? Where did that buck go?
People are serious about their deer.
They've got their eyes on that buck. And the minute, because apparently it's impressive. And if it's in our yard, it's in everybody else's field, if it's on our land. So I told I was just like, praise the Lord, you did not shoot that. Number one, we don't have time to deal with it right now. We're trying to get ready for Thanksgiving. But,
and that happens a lot, not talking about Mark, but just that happens a lot in general, where people get that impulse because they see a big deer and it's like I'm not saying Mark didn't care, but people just don't care.
Yeah.
They see this deer and they're like, oh, I've got to kill this deer. And they'll just grab whatever's there and shoot it. And then after the fact, they're like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And, we get them dropped off at processors, and sometimes the processors will call and be like, hey, this doesn't look right. And so we'll show up and, you can look at it, and we have certain tests we can do to test to see, what type of projectile went through it, because a lot of times one of the old school tricks was to shoot a deer with a rifle during bow season and then take that hole and put an arrow through it, so that way the blade would make the cuts in the meat. So when they looked at it, you would see the cuts in the meat and they go, oh, that was a bow kill.
Sure.
But then you got to look at the trauma, a bow versus a rifle shot. And then we have these tests that test for lead, to test whether or not it was an arrow or lead that goes through it. And then obviously measuring the diameter of the hole to see, a lot of people say, yeah, I killed it with my 50 caliber muzzleloader. Like, well, that's a 22 caliber size hole in the deer, not a 45. So or a 50. So
interesting.
Anyway,
well, it can be a big deal, guys.
We got tons of ways to check it out. So
well, and he told me you had. What was the most expensive one? Because you said something about,
like I said, that one I had was around $15,000 total.
They were like, well, we'll pay it and we just want to keep it. But they're like, no, you can't keep the deer.
Oh no, the guy offered me more money. He was like, I'll give you $25,000 if I can just keep the deer. And I said, no, sir, that's not how it works.
Oh wow. Apparently he had wealth.
Yes, yeah,
so
he did.
Interesting. That blew my mind though when Mark was telling me about that. And when you told me
that's only been a few years ago. Yeah.
When you told me about the fines, have the fines always been that stiff?
No, like I said, that just opened up a few years ago for the first time.
Of a fine.
Mm-hmm. Because there was never any restitution, and these deer that Tennessee grows are getting so big, and people are coming from all over the world to hunt in Tennessee now. Because once we drop down to that 2-buck limit, we've had some monsters. There's been some monsters killed this year. used to be, a lot of people look at the deer based on age, and they say I killed a 130-inch deer, and that's just the total amount of inches of rack that deer has grown. So you measure different parts of the rack, you add it all together, and so 15 years ago, 130-inch deer, you did something great. That's like, wow, that's a big deer. And now you kill a 130-inch deer, and it's like, oh, you should have let that one walk, And now we're killing 180, 190, 200-inch deer every year. And it's like we have a new record every year, it seems like. So
really? Huh.
So the deer are getting a lot bigger, and people, like I said, are coming from all over. So the state was like, it's becoming such a trophy hunt. Like there was not any, other than getting the deer taken, there was no penalty at all, really. There was no restitution for that deer, because the deer and animals in Tennessee, the wildlife belong to the state. They don't belong to you or me or anybody that owns it that's on their land. It belongs to the state of Tennessee. And so the state of Tennessee wasn't getting restitution, they said. So everybody's got to get their money, I guess.
Well, and the reason why we do this, guys, is so things don't get overhunted. I mean, look back at pictures of when they killed off the buffalo.
Yeah.
And the mounds of buffalo. I mean, think about that. That's what you don't want to happen. And if you don't have some kind of regulatory board, there's some crazy person who's going to come in and do those kinds of things. But I don't want to completely run out of time talking about this stuff before we remind everybody. I don't know if they're heading in or not. Did you see anybody coming up the road?
Oh, no. I saw somebody, but I don't know if it was them or not.
We don't know if sheriff's office is coming in or not. We had talked to Jessica Drake about getting Sheriff Van Dyke in here. Have not got any confirmation of that. Haven't heard from Jess. So they none of them may be in, and then they may both pop in here in a minute. So we're just going to continue on talking with Kaleb Stratton. He is our Wildlife Resources District Sergeant.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, but right now he's also a deputized United States Marshal. How about that?
Yeah.
That's so cool. And he is our authority on hunting season. It is still muzzleloader season. My husband almost
until
deer.
Until Saturday.
Until Saturday. He did not. I stopped him. But no, Zeke, our Great Dane, stopped him. And just to all of my neighbors, I have a dog that looks like a fawn. Please don't shoot him. He's a really good dog. But I tried putting an orange vest on him, and I can't get it to, he won't leave it on. He just pulls it right off.
A big orange collar would work, too, if you got an orange collar.
Yeah, I guess we need to, I think he has a reflective collar. I think he has an orange collar, but I'll put one of those on him, too. But, so, hunting season officially starts.
Well, hunting season is going on,
Well,
but so the rifle
season.
Yeah, we'll open Saturday. So that's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Right.
So Thanksgiving's next Thursday. So this coming Saturday, will be the opening of rifle. I expect it to be pretty good. So right now, this muzzleloader season hit perfect for what we call the rut. That's when you're seeing all these deer hit on the road right now.
Oh yeah.
Every day I get the emails just talking about all the deer hit by cars and stuff. So, getting a lot of that, but we've had a lot of deer killed. We're down a little bit from last year. This time last year for muzzleloader, we had already harvested around 466 deer, or 464, I think it said.
Wow.
And we're at 366 right now. So about 100 deer less. But this week has been, no pun intended, but it has been killer for deer. I mean, the weather's been great. It's been cold in the mornings, warming up, and the deer are chasing like crazy, and people are just seeing deer everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's been good. Once rifle season starts Saturday, it'll run through, I think it's the first week of January. So I think it ends on the 4th, maybe that Sunday, whatever that Sunday is, I think. So it goes for a while. It's one of the longest deer seasons in the country, honestly.
Okay.
But we do have, so that's deer season essentially.
Right.
Just reminding everybody to don't go on property if it's not yours. Wear orange. You got to wear orange when you're hunting during muzzleloader and rifle season. But that's the main thing I'm getting right now is just trespassing calls a lot. Still some spotlighting calls. I was out working one last night. But with that coming along, we've got the trout that are going to be starting too.
I figured you were going to that, so I'm very curious about this. I think this is cool.
So December 4th will be the first trout stocking. December 4th, so that's just actually 2 weeks away.
Oh,
so
yeah.
2 weeks from this Thursday will be December 4th. Yeah.
So fast.
So Thursday, December 4th, they normally get there anywhere between 11 and 2. So normally around 12 or 1, I think. It just depends on traffic, and how the fish get delivered up there. But
Right.
that will start on December the 4th. And I'll talk about it obviously again, but December 4th and January 28th and February 26th are our 3 trout stockings.
Outstanding.
We always put them down there at the Greenway, and then even a few down there at Travis Price. So
That's fun. And I mean, I something I want to do so bad, but I'll have to get my kid out of school. My grandkid, my grandson, the one that loves to fish, is the oldest of the bunch, and he just absolutely loves fishing. And he was at the house yesterday for a few minutes and said something. There's a shooting range next door to our property that's up behind the wastewater plant.
yeah, it's where the city.
And I'm telling you, it was active yesterday. There was a lot of shooting going on, and you could hear it. And my grandson's like, "Who's shooting?" I said, "Well, I said they're over at the shooting range." I said, "Somebody's over there practicing doing
Yeah.
something."
Well, that's where the city shoots at, the city police.
Do y'all are y'all invited to go out there at all, or can you? I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's
We've
the
never
city?
asked. We've got our own stuff, so.
Okay,
But yeah, that's where the city of Springfield does all their training at.
okay. And they're going to be doing more of that as they do all the renovations and do all the new plant. And
Oh,
all
yeah,
that
that's
out
right.
There.
They're
gonna
about
be
to
putting
start
in-
that, yeah.
They've got cranes and stuff.
Yeah,
out there
yeah, they did their
so, yeah.
groundbreaking. I noticed not too long
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
And so the rumor has it that, or not the rumor, they've told us, they said, well, we're going to have some training stuff out here, and I think it's cool. But so the kids were hearing that, and he's like, why can't Dad and I come out here and shoot? I'm like, well, you can, but you do something called play baseball. It takes all your free time, and so trying to find, you have to. I think that's the reason why we're seeing less hunting. Is because people are doing all these other things and they're forgetting about hunting season, and they just don't make time for it. Because you got to intentionally make time for it.
That's the largest thing that we face right now is we have these programs called R3, and that's recruitment, retention, and reactivation. So we recruit new hunters, we retain the ones we have, and then we recruit new ones. But we have all these events, and I mean we're all guilty of it. Not guilty, but we do these events, like we do these youth hunts and stuff, and we say we're trying to get new hunters in, and we are. But if these parents aren't bringing new hunters, or these hunting events we put on, the only people we have coming are the ones that have always hunted, or that the parents have always hunted, that bring their kids into it.
Yeah.
So it's just a generational thing, I guess. But it's just getting more and more to where it's hard to get these quote new kids in. Just talking about Mark's classes, every time I ask him, how many people hunt, I may get 1 or 2 kids to raise their hand in the class. How many people have ever shot a gun? Again, everybody's looking at you like, what do you mean shoot a gun? Why would I shoot a gun? And it's like, oh my gosh. But it's like that every year. It's just getting worse and worse. Whereas 15, 20 years ago, you ask a classroom how many people hunt, and 90% of them would raise their hand. How many of you shoot a gun? Like, yeah, I shot one this morning before I left the house. Just.
Yeah.
But now it's just like almost taboo to even talk about it.
It's a trip.
Just talking about hunting in general in these classes, you ought to see some of these kids. They look at you like you're crazy, like you're a serial killer. So, it's a different day and time for sure.
It's just like the difference in we're turning that corner here. Society, and I hate it. That's when my friends Lee Marie and all them, they're so involved with Tennessee Firearms Association, and one of the reasons why is because this is becoming the norm for people not to understand firearms, and that's where our freedom lies, guys, is the fact that we are we have the right to bear arms. And I was watching some video. There was a couple of British guys that come to America and they just try all these American things, and it's just kind of funny to watch their reactions. Well, they walk into a Walmart for the first time, and they were like, "There's the guns!" Just shocked them. They were
just
like,
a gun sitting there.
"What? You can go in and buy guns?" And it was just they were so shocked by it. It's like, welcome to America.
Yeah.
But it's just, if we don't promote shooting sports, it's going to get to where it's going to be so taboo, like you said, that we're not going to be an armed society. And I know, I'm get into the whole.
They cannot be armed if they wish, but that's not my wish. So
Say that again?
I said that if they don't want to have guns, they don't have to have them, but I'll have them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and it may, hopefully our protections will always be in place, but I was never raised around. We farmed. We had hogs, and we would trade pork for beef, and we never needed to hunt. So I was not taught about guns. And, oh, looky there. She is coming in today. We were wondering. I told him, I said, I haven't talked to Jess. I said, since I haven't talked to her, I said, I think maybe sheriff's coming in. But there she.
I answered your main question anyway, so you're good.
But we're just talking, about the cost of poaching and all that kind of stuff, and about people not hunting anymore. So since Jess is here, we probably need to wrap up our time then. So
No, we're
but you're funny. But we are still in muzzleloader season, and we're trying to promote more kids hunting. And so Kaleb is going to my husband's class today, and is talking to them about hunting. And you're going to give them. Are you doing the course where they can get hunter safety training?
yeah, that's what this is.
So this is
yeah.
what this is. How much longer before they get their little hunter safety training?
Y'all have a lot coming up as teachers, I know, with
Yeah.
exams and stuff. So
OCs.
I'll be there a couple times this week, and then I'm going to try to finish up and do the test on a week from today. So
Okay.
just to get it knocked out. It's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
When I don't see how teachers do it because I'm in there, and which I teach, I guess, more than he does. As far as we were talking about, like how classes kind of set up, and the hour and 15 or 20 minutes I'm in there, it's nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, they're having to listen to me or watch a video the whole time.
Right.
Because there's just a lot to cover. Yeah, in a short amount of time. So
Yeah. But, well, we'll send you on, and we'll let y'all make the switch while I do an ad for Barry and Rebecca Richards. But thank you so much, and appreciate you going to Memphis and doing what you did and all that kind of stuff. I was extra prayers went up for you while you were doing that. I'll just tell you, because that was that.
Like I said, we had fun. We enjoyed it.
Yeah,
So.
well, that's cool. And you, Deputy Marshal, man, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? So, all right then. I'll see you later, Kaleb. Thank you so much. And as Jess makes her way over here and slides in, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. They're always busy on the weekends because that's when they show. They have a lot of houses that they'll show, a lot of houses that they'll go look at, doing video and photography and all the fun things that they have going on. So I'll tell you, if you want to really plug into the real estate community, then you need to reach out to Barry and Rebecca. Maybe you want to be a realtor. We've got kids about to graduate from high school here. Their last day of school is just 21 days. They're graduating early, and I'm always talking to my seniors that I'm around. It's like, what are you going to do? And every now and then I get that. I think I want to go into real estate. I tell them about Barry and Rebecca. I said, Rebecca searched out companies when she went into real estate. She was in radiology, and she wanted to have a company that, like she says, crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, and had everything I needed it to have. And that's what she found in Exit Prime Realty. She was with the Garden Gate team forever, she and Barry both. And then they switched over when he became a full-time realtor. He is the broker here in town. She has an agency office in White House. And so together they bring you Exit Prime Realty. So if you want to get into real estate, why not work with a couple of them, a couple of folks that have been through all the paces and looked at all the things. Barry having his marketing background is just essential to the group, and being able to present property in such a beautiful light. If you want to reach out to them, the number to call is 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or you can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, BUY, RobertsonCounty.com. If you follow them on social media, they just put up a property up in Cross Plains. Well, it's not posted yet, but you want to keep an eye on it. It's up in Cross Plains, and Rebecca just shared that on her social media page. A couple of days ago, they've got a price drop on a piece of property up in Cross Plains, 2136 Neal Lane. If you looked at that property, there's just been a price drop on that. Get out and check out all the things that are going on with Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. And when you do, be sure to let them know that U-Turn sent you. All right, Jessica is in the house. Jessica Drake in the house for the sheriff's office. And the question he was talking about was one that I had because, I knew he went to Memphis to do help with the warrants and all that kind of thing. Well, then Mark mentioned that one of the SROs at Springfield he thought was getting ready to go. And so I thought, so his sheriff's office sent him. He said, no, that they are in the Guard.
Yes. So we have, we have several in the National Guard that have gone and are waiting to get their orders.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So do they go for, like, his assignment was about 9 days? Is it a short term or?
No, they're gone for months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we won't see several of them till sometime next year.
Oh my goodness.
Early next year.
Because they're in the Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my goodness.
We're not.
We're gonna be shorthanded a little bit.
We are.
Yeah. How do you handle that? Because it's like I was telling him, one of my biggest regrets is not serving in law enforcement, in military, or something. But you think about serving in the Guard, and we have. You hear, I have friends that's spouse, and they're gone. What do you do about that as an employer? Because I can imagine. That's got to be tough.
It definitely takes
those voids.
It definitely takes a toll on the employer, but they have to go. That's their duty, and they go. And I believe we have about 5.
Wow.
That are going and waiting on their orders. And we probably won't see them till like January, February,
wow.
Possibly. Usually that stuff always gets extended anyways, but we just have to do what we can do. We have to pull people from other positions to go to the critical positions. People work overtime, days off. It affects everybody. It really does. And we still have a job to do, regardless of how many people that we have on shift, whether we're fully staffed or whether we're understaffed. We still have to provide the same amount of services as any other time.
Even if you've got these guys, wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. We do a lot of working hard and working over and just doing everything that we can.
So, how you say, are y'all fully staffed right now, or do you have job openings?
We do have job openings right now in corrections. We have about, we have technically 2 starting today, so we should have about 10 openings.
Oh man,
yeah,
man, that's a lot. I had no idea because I have one of my students. I'm not going to say their name, but I think they're over there in corrections right now. I'll ask you that. I don't want to say anything on air, but I think that's the route they went. Last time I talked to them, one of my guys that graduated early last year, because I'm always curious about what the kids, what's your plans? You got to make a living. Welcome to adulting,
Yeah.
And so I have those conversations with them. And so law enforcement was the route he was going. And last I heard, he was working in corrections. But how long do people, that's where, didn't you start in corrections?
I did.
So, that's a good entry job. For somebody that comes into corrections and they're like, okay, I want to work in corrections, but I really want to, I want to be an SRO. How long does the journey take? Usually, if somebody really, it's like, I really want to be an SRO or I want to be a deputy. How does it, when do you earn the rank of deputy?
So that's through promotion process. So there has to be an opening for that. And then you apply for it, and then you have to do tests, interviews, obstacle course.
Oh, okay.
Supervisor evaluations. It's a whole
thing.
A whole thing to get it. And then that's how you get it. So for the most part, you have to have at least 6 months of experience before you can even apply if there's an opening.
That was really, I guess, my question. I didn't know how to ask it, but it's like, how long?
So you have to have a minimum of 6 months experience in law enforcement. So that doesn't mean just at the sheriff's office, if they came from, another office for corrections or anything like that. And then once you have the 6 months, if there's an opening, we'll post it, and then you submit your application packet with, your resume, your application, reference it, whatever you want to put in your packet. And you submit that during the opening, and then you go through all the testing phases.
So, and then once you go in as a deputy, then that means you're out making calls and
post-certified deputy. Technically, we're all deputies, but you have the uncertified ones, and then you have the certified ones. So if you're going out for patrol or SRO, those are certified deputies. And so if you're promoted from corrections, we'll send you to the academy. And then you go to the academy, you become post-certified. Then you have to go through your months of training with with the post, and then with us before you're put out on your own. So I mean,
interesting.
It's 6 months to a year before a deputy is on their own going by themselves. I mean, it's a process.
Yeah,
it's a process.
See, I think we need to hear that. People need to hear that, and the training that goes into it.
It really does, and and that goes back to being shorthanded, because a lot of people would be like, oh, well, just promote some people. Well, I mean, you can't do that. It takes 6 months to a year before they're ready. So when you're understaffed and you got people, deployed in the Guard, you have people on medical leave, you have people in training, because training, I mean, that takes 2 people for one position on training, because you have the trainee and then you have the trainer.
Right.
So, when we call it FTO, when you're in FTO, you're not in a slot yet. You're still getting trained. Okay. So when you have all of that together, people don't think about those people that are out either.
Yeah. Interesting.
And that all contributes to it.
Well, and I didn't even think about this until we got to talking about this deputy marshal thing, or the what Kaleb was doing in Memphis. And I know our SRO, Rippy, is now he's not a deputy anymore. He is he a sergeant?
I believe he's a corporal.
Is he corporal? Okay, I can't remember the rankings and stuff, but I have to look at his shirt to remember.
Yeah.
But so is corporal next up from deputy?
Yes.
And then
you have deputy, corporal, sergeant, and then like if you're a detective, you got a detective sergeant, and then you go up to any other division, it would be sergeant, lieutenant, and then you got captain, then you got major, then you got chief, and then you got sheriff.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I'm always curious about this stuff because you hear the different titles. My son exposed me a little bit to the promotion thing is when he was in the military, so I understood it a little bit. But he's been out now, and so I just was so curious when I heard that he had gotten deputized as a marshal for this thing in Memphis, because and I had no idea that that you had people that were deploying out of the sheriff's office.
We have several.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. And I think they're going somewhere other than Memphis, aren't they? Some are going. I heard somewhere in North Carolina or something. I don't know. I thought I heard something. It's
all of ours are in Memphis.
They're all going to Memphis. Okay. And it's
that I know of.
And what Kaleb was saying, a lot of us will look at, they're like, well, they're not doing their job in Memphis. He's like, well, they're just severely understaffed. Is a lot of the problem in Memphis is they just don't have enough people. Yeah. And so when you try to start serving these warrants and things, you don't have time for such things. But I'm glad to know we're fully staffed. So the only, except for the corrections openings that you do have. So anything else?
And then our ones that are,
the deployment,
they're all the ones that are on medical leave, deployed, training, all of that kind of stuff. They're employees and they have a spot, but they're not in their positions being able to do.
And that puts you in a bind. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind whenever you're, trying to get a hold of the sheriff's office. They're stretched a little thin, especially with all those getting ready. Because you said some of them are awaiting their orders.
Yes, so we have several that are already down there.
Right.
And then we have several that are still waiting for their orders to come in. So it
could happen anytime.
Anytime. Oh, yeah. Okay. And the thing is that some of them don't even know till the day before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man. Whew. That's a lot. That's a lot. Anyway, especially with the holidays coming up and all this kind of stuff. If you got family and kiddos, God bless y'all. I pray for y'all, praying over y'all this morning. So just be safe. Be safe in all the things you're doing. We're talking with Jessica Drake. She's a public information officer for the Robertson County Sheriff's Office. And we had thought we might get Sheriff in here, but he's just kind of busy right now.
Yeah, he's running around trying to get...
Get it all
trying
done.
To get to all the different places. Yes.
So, what is going on? Anything specific we need to know about in the sheriff's office, or just pretty much business as usual? Busy holiday time.
Yep.
Holiday season.
When you think we're going to have some downtime, the next season starts right back up. So.
Do y'all have elections coming up? When does his election cycle?
Next year.
It's next year. So will he be on the ballot in 26 or the 27th?
Yes.
So he's on the ballot.
Yeah, so he's rerunning next year.
Okay. I wasn't sure. How many years is it that he?
4.
4. Okay. So this will be his third
Mm-hmm.
election.
Yep.
So, well, hopefully he won't have any opponents and it'll be easy.
Yeah.
'Cause I got to know them on the campaign trail when I ran for Congress, which
Campaigning's
was a
not
trip.
fun.
Oh, it's exhausting. And especially with it being that was his first time to run. Man, y'all wore it out. Y'all were everywhere. I missed a lot. I mean, because it was just constant. It was just constant. And so God bless you. That's a tough thing having to think about an election, and you just do it. So hopefully, maybe you won't have any opposition and everything. You won't have to deal with it, and it'll just be, it'll work good because that happens a lot. Once you've got a sheriff people are happy with, people are just like, okay, we're just going to leave him alone, and that's good when that happens. For the person that's running.
Yes, and I think it's a testament, too, of the job that we're doing. Absolutely. He ran unopposed last time. The sheriff's office does an amazing job. Our stats are incredible. And that's just a reflection of of his position, his role as the sheriff, and as well as all the deputies and every employee at the sheriff's office that dedicate their lives to keeping Robertson County safe.
Amen. Well, we'll hope you get another unopposed election. That'll make it easier on on all you guys for sure, especially with all this other stuff going on. But because as you go through that process and they come back, I mean, they're talking about going to different places, so it could happen again. So I mean, it's a very tenuous time in that regard, and so you just do the best you can. But now it is the holidays. What are the holiday? You got your list there.
Yeah.
Did you bring
List.
Holiday tips?
Yeah,
and things to watch for.
Yeah, so I got the the holiday shopping tips. Obviously, it is dark way too early now. We know everybody loves that. So just be aware when you're out shopping that it is getting darker sooner. Make sure for safety reasons. Park if you're the big parking lots at the malls and all that kind of stuff. Park under a light in the parking lot. If you can, try to back into your parking space so you can leave quicker if you need to, but it's also easier to go straight than it is to reverse as far as pedestrians and things like that. When you're going from store to store, make sure you're covering up your bags and your gifts. If you have a trunk, put them in your trunk. If they're visible from a window, bring a blanket with you so you can cover them up with a blanket. And the biggest thing, especially after the day after Christmas, what does everyone do? They unpack all of their gifts and they put their boxes out for the trash.
Yeah.
Don't put it at the end of your drive because you're just telling everybody what you got for Christmas and they know what house to go to.
Yep.
So
to Rob, I mean, you got that fancy gaming system and things that they can walk off with real easily. Now the big TVs and stuff, it's like you can't even get those out. But if you've got these real expensive gaming systems and all that, and they're in the trash, oh yeah, they can go in and snag those fast. So for sure, I'm so diligent about that when it comes to, I mean, year round, I cover the stuff in my car, and honestly and truthfully, I think it's because I spent 7 years working at the church. One of my jobs was working at the Benevolent Center, working with a lot of homeless people, and I met a lot of wonderful people. But there was a lot of scoundrels too.
Yep.
That will, they'll snatch anything they can, and you got to be so careful.
Not only that, but also just lock your vehicles.
Yes.
That is the simplest thing to do. Now, granted, in a perfect world, you shouldn't have to because you shouldn't have to worry. But guess what? We don't live in a perfect world.
No.
So just lock your doors. Most thieves are looking for a quick grab. Yeah. So they're just pulling on door handles. If the door handle's locked, they're going to move to the next one. If one's unlocked, they're going to get in, grab what they can, and leave. That's most of the time how it works. So lock your cars and cover your stuff with blankets. Don't leave anything visible. And please, if you have firearms in your car,
oh my goodness,
take them out. Whether you leave your car unlocked or locked, take them out when you're not in the vehicle.
Right. I know that is something we've talked a lot about, how many people lose weapons and then they're in the, I mean, they're out there going to, have crimes committed with them or what, who knows what, or they'll pawn them.
The thing is
yeah,
criminals don't usually have their weapons legally.
Yeah, they don't.
So,
of course not. That's one thing when people start wanting to pass gun laws and all this, I'm like, yeah, and only the people who are law abiding will have to abide by these because criminals don't follow the law. That's why they're criminals. But talking with Jessica Drake, she is the Public Information Officer for the Sheriff's Office, talking about all the things you need to be thinking about with the holidays and things you need to be cautious about. One thing I think we need to touch on, and it's something that I think about every time I do it, cranking my car to warm it up.
mm-hmm.
I live in an area that's not too suspect of people because, I got dogs. I'm down. I'm not in an area that's going to be prone to this, but we still lock whenever, because, if you want to crank your car and get it warmed up, you've got to lock that thing back up.
Yes, and, you really need to be careful
yeah.
and conscientious when you do that,
yeah.
Because you are increasing the likelihood of possibly having it taken. And I get it. Nobody wants to get in a cold car. And you don't want to sit in there for 20 minutes while it's warming up. So just, be very careful with that and understand, obviously, the increased possibility.
Oh, yeah. And you can crank them and lock them a lot now. I don't know. I don't have one of those.
And don't keep a key fob in the car.
Yeah, I have my nephew's wife or niece. They stole their car because she left a key fob in it and took her car and it was just, when she ran in the house for a minute, and it was that quick.
Yep.
That they had been watching, and I think actually what ended up happening, they took a key fob out of her car that she didn't know they had taken because there was two of them, and they took it and then came back the next day and actually stole the car or something like that. I forget exactly how it went down, but it was like a brand new, like, really nice Suburban.
Yeah.
And and they had just gotten it, and they were watching them and were watching her habits.
They get
and
clever.
What she did, yeah. And it was like she had a habit of, because they got 3 kids, and she had a habit of going in and out. And they figured that they grabbed the key fob when she was loading the car. And there was 2, I don't know. I can't remember exactly. My nephew laid it out for me. I'm like, man, that was sneaky. But they were watching her, and they got her routine down, and that's how they figured out how they could get it, And it may have even been that they got the key fob out of her bag, and then she was like, well, I must have left it in, and she went in and got the extra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
And that may have been how it went down. And she just thought, well, I've misplaced it. No, they had grabbed it. And then they came back in the middle of the night and actually took the car. And they got up the next day and it was gone. So, but they did their maneuver, during the day. And so, because I think they maybe have cameras or something, yard cameras and that kind of thing, and saw what happened. But it was just really interesting that if people would just be as creative as criminals at getting a job and making a living, they would be so surprised. But anyway.
They'd probably be very successful.
Yes, wouldn't they, though? So what else have you got for us?
We pretty much just we went into the hiring thing, and also just holiday scams.
Yeah.
Those are rolling around. So just be mindful of those. And if you're ever unsure, hang up and call back whoever they are saying they are. Don't call the number that they give you. Call, Google it yourself, get the appropriate number and call yourself.
Yeah. You've got to verify. And you just, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
How conniving and how crafty and how creative they can be.
We actually just posted maybe 2 weeks ago of a current scam that's going on. And of course, since we posted it, I'm sure they've changed it up, now that it's out there. But and this happens quite a bit, several times a year, but they'll get on the websites and they were claiming to be one of our lieutenants. And so they were claiming to be one of the lieutenants at the sheriff's office. When you call the number back that they give you on the voicemail, they've actually replicated our voice system and everything like that. That's why I'm saying if someone leaves you a voicemail with a number to call back and just Google and call the number on our website or something like that, not on what is in the voicemail.
It's breathtaking because of AI and what they can do and what they can find out online. And it is unbelievable.
Yeah, they'll just take the information of our employees online and, because it makes it, they're going to do everything they can to make it the most believable as possible.
And if they hit you at the right time with the right circumstances, it can happen to anyone. And so you need to be extra careful and extra conscientious and just don't ever think it can't happen to you.
And
because
never, the sheriff's office does not do Bitcoin or any of that kind of stuff that the Kroger or whatever that machine's at here in the county. And there is no green dot cards, red dot cards. We don't tell you to do that to pay your stuff. We're not demanding money. You don't pay for, we're not going to ask for demand gift cards, ask for the gift cards, anything like that. And when you go and, for some reason, if you're getting a green dot card or a red dot card or something for somebody, the back of those cards will say, you cannot use these to pay for warrants, fines, or anything like that. Yes, it's right on the back in red.
How fun. And people are still trying
and people still do it.
It's unbelievable what they'll say and what they'll do. I had a conversation with somebody. They were saying that they had their father was like high up in a company, and they were very good about putting out these little trial things and trying to kind of test the waters and kind of put you through the practices to not get scammed. And so they were a diligent company. They still somehow managed to scam this company out of $100,000 because they were that good. You just absolutely, guys, have got to be so careful. So careful.
You can't pay to get out of a warrant.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Let's just be clear about that. You cannot pay to get out of a warrant.
That's hysterical. That's really
If
funny.
we have a warrant, we will come and give you personal service.
That's hysterical. And so that's the scam.
Yes.
Funny. Well, and it's just like you said, the sheriff's office is not going to call and do that. Neither is the IRS. Yeah, no. That's not how they do business. If you have something on with the IRS, you're going to get an official IRS, and it'll say, you will know it's the IRS, and it's a letter. They don't call you. They don't email you. They don't text you. They don't do any of that.
We're just going to come and pay a visit.
They're going to knock on your door.
We're just going to come
Sheriff's
and say
office
hi.
is going to knock on your door and say, hi, we have a warrant. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But that's a really good point. Anything else we need to cover before we wrap up?
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You got big Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all the things.
Yep. Getting geared up for all of that. So much fun.
Well, because I have one that matches your little Tommy.
I've got closets just stuffed with presents, and every time I think I'm done Christmas shopping for him, I find something else.
Oh, he'd love that.
Yes.
He'd love
He's
that.
so spoiled.
Oh, yeah, all of mine are. All of mine are. And it's such a fun age. 3 years old, they're just so much fun. Oh, you're going to have a blast this year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, have fun. Jessica Drake, Public Information Officer from the Sheriff's Office. So thankful that you got to join us for our Law Enforcement Day today. And tomorrow, County Mayor Billy Vogel will be here. So I hope you'll be here. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.